A day after Pakistan's brutal takedown at the United Nations by India over the issue of terror, a smarting Bilawal Bhutto today chose bile as his weapon of retaliation. In a highly offensive tirade targeting the Prime Minister of India, here's what Bhutto said.
Behind the Honourable Foreign Minister or the Minister for External Affairs of India, that Osama bin Laden is dead, but the butcher of Gujarat lives. And he is the Prime Minister of India. He was banned from entering this country until he became Prime Minister. This is the Prime Minister of the RSS and the Foreign Minister of the RSS. What is the RSS? The RSS draws its inspiration from Hitler's SS.
All right, and this is a response coming in from S. Jaishankar, because these condemnable remarks, in fact, came a day after India strongly hit back at Pakistan after it raised the Kashmir issue at the UN Security Council, asserting that a country that hosted Al-Qaeda terrorist Osama bin Laden and attacked India's parliament does not have the credentials to sermonize on terror.
We are obviously focused today on the urgency of reforming multilateralism. We will naturally have our particular views, but there is an ongoing convergence, at least, that this cannot be delayed any further. The credibility of the UN depends on its effective response to the key challenges of our times, be it pandemics, climate change, conflicts, or terrorism. While we search for the best solutions, what our discourse must never accept is the normalization of such threats. The question of justifying what the world regards as unacceptable should not even arise. That certainly applies to state sponsorship of cross-border terrorism. Nor can hosting Osama bin Laden and attacking a neighboring parliament serve as credentials to sermonize before this council.
India has blasted Pakistan Foreign Minister for his offensive and desperate tirade, calling it a new low, even for Pakistan. In an unequivocal condemnation, the Minister of External Affairs has said that a country that has been a repeat offender when it comes to genocides and fomenting terrorists lacks the credentials to cast aspersions on India.
पाकिस्तान की धरती आतंकवादियों को पैदा करने के लिए, संरक्षण देने के लिए, आतंकवाद को बढ़ाने के लिए लगातार प्रयास करती रही। ये दुनिया से छिपा नहीं है इनकी हरकतें, इनके मंसूबे, और लगातार आतंकवाद के खिलाफ कड़ी कार्रवाई की है तो मोदी सरकार में हुई है। ओसामा बिन लादेन को यूएस ने घर में घुसकर मारा पाकिस्तान में, और भारत ने भी सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक घुसकर की आतंकवादियों के खिलाफ।
The statement by the Foreign Minister of Pakistan is indicative of not just a bankrupt nation, that is Pakistan, but bankruptcy of emotions and bankruptcy of intellect by the leaders who run that country. The country he represents.
You're watching the News Hour at 9, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Kamar Chima, defense analyst, is joining us on the broadcast, as is Omar Altaf, senior journalist. We also have, of course, Shehzada Poonawala and Dr. Anand Raghunathan, who continue to be with us. Let me begin with Kamar Chima. Kamar Chima, कैसा लगा सेल्फ गोल बिलावल भुट्टो का? इंटरनेशनल प्लेटफॉर्म पे अपने आप को ही एक्सपोज कर दिया ओसामा बिन लादेन का नाम लेके।
I think this is not about a goal or who won or who lost. That is about a fact. And I think he put a fact in front of the international community that, yes, Osama bin Laden is dead and the butcher of Gujarat is still alive.
Who killed Osama bin Laden,
and the matter is in front of the international community.
Who killed Osama bin Laden?
Osama bin Laden is dead and the butcher of Gujarat is alive.
Was it the judiciary that hung him? Was it a trial that he faced? Or was he given a safe harbor inside a military town or a garrison called Abbottabad? Was it not the US forces who came down, swooped in the dark of the night and shot him and his compatriots to death? Is that something that's hidden from the world, or is it something that the Pakistan state did?
Not a natural death. So what is the point in that?
The point is that there is no justice. You are a fomenting ground for terrorists. That's what Pakistan is today. The world knows that. And you're actually trying to point fingers at India, which is a functional democracy.
Osama bin Laden is dead. Osama bin Laden is dead, and the butcher of Gujarat is right. We are putting the fact.
Sir, the fact is that you are a breeding ground for terrorists. You have been, continue to be. There is nothing has changed on ground. You may claim that Osama bin Laden is dead. You are actually tom-tomming the fact that the world's most wanted terrorist was found on your own territory. I don't know if that's shocking, that's tragic, or it's funny today.
Globally, on every country, the terrorists have been found, including in US, Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, every country. So what is the point in that?
The point is that in your country, there is no sense of justice. The state does not act. It has to be another country that comes and kills those terrorists. That's the only way that terrorists are acted upon, unfortunately. That is a complete and utter failure. It's a complete and utter failure of any semblance of justice or democracy in your country or your judiciary. Dr. Anand Ranganathan's hand is going up. Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Kamar Chima says, what's wrong with that? Osama is dead today.
I think Mr. Chima is still smarting from the... now, Mr. Chima, I didn't interrupt you. I don't want to bring in Sushant Sarin, so please, let's be gentle. Now, Mr. Chima is possibly still smarting from the fact that today India is commemorating the abject surrender of Pakistan and 93,000 prisoners of war in 1971, December 16. So good luck to him. Secondly, you know, on national television, let this be put on record that a Pakistani came on Indian national television and accused the sitting Prime Minister of being a butcher of Gujarat. Such despicable words were used. Now, he can say whatever he wants. It's all right. It's a free country. He can say that. But is it based on any sort of logic when our own Supreme Court, that I'm sure Mr. Chima respects, has respectfully exonerated the Prime Minister after a lengthy process whereby he was grilled day and night and came to a conclusion that yes, he was not responsible for the 2002 Gujarat riots, not genocides, in which 700 Hindus were also killed. Mr. Chima should answer this. I know he doesn't respect the Pakistani judiciary, but does he also accept the Indian judiciary?
Well, doctor is absolutely right. This is the same judiciary. This is the same Supreme Court where the judges who are taken into, when they get retired, they become member of the Rajya Sabha because they are given those kind of incentives. Secondly, this is the same judiciary that approved that, okay, demolishing a mosque and building a temple is right. This is the same judiciary. So do not talk about judiciary. India's judiciary is just like any other country's, third world country judiciary. So don't try to tell that Prime Minister Modi has been given a free chit by the Indian Supreme Court. We don't want to listen.
The problem, Mr. Chima.
You want the Pakistani Supreme Court to exonerate Modi?
I think that judgment would be very easy to get, because in Pakistan, I'm sure things like that have happened. The biggest of crimes have been actually. The problem is that he's actually seeing things through the Pakistan. He's actually only seen the Pakistan judiciary, and that's why he's making these comments.
The PR agent of the BJP. Do not be the public relation officers of the BJP here on the TV.
No, forget the BJP, sir. Forget the BJP, sir. There may be problems in our system. There's no two ways about it. But the fact is that in terms of one second, Mr. Kamar Chima, we have very often pointed out, and there's a raging debate on judicial appointments happening in our country. We don't see that happening in Pakistan. There's a raging debate about what is, judicial overreach, what is not. We debate those issues. We are satisfied with the level of probity. There may be problems, there may be areas to reform, but the idea is this, that ultimately when it comes to our judiciary, there is a broad consensus of how justice is done. Unfortunately, that's not the case in Pakistan. You don't have the luxury of actually doing that. But I want to bring in Shehzad on a simple point. And also bring in Omar Altaf on this, because Omar Altaf, what has happened today? Has Pakistan's stature actually gone up or down with the statement of Bilawal Bhutto? Because once again, you've actually ended up drawing the world's attention to the fact that Osama bin Laden was working over there, he was functioning, and he was sheltered also by the establishment.
Well, Pakistan's stature hasn't gone up or down with Bilawal's statement. It's not statements which do that what is problematic is that
You've embarrassed yourself, sir.
India
You've embarrassed yourself.
Country.
It is your foreign minister saying this. You've clearly embarrassed yourself.
No,
So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know
I
whether you say that it has gone up or gone down, or you feel that it is absolutely balanced. I don't know how you can say that when it is the face of your country in the United Nations saying this.
Stop interrupting, because it doesn't look good on screen. Stop interrupting. That is.
Let me decide what looks good on our screen, sir. That's for us to decide. When you come out and make this kind of a bizarre remark, you will get a response.
And what you should remove these two jokers from the panel.
You are an academic. Don't behave like a clown.
No, the only clown here is Bilawal Bhutto. It's very difficult to top that act today. That's all I can say.
Have some decency to hear me out.
I've had enough of
Aren't you embarrassed?
Was Kasaba Pakistani or not? Was Kasaba Pakistani?
Yes, he was, and he was a terrorist. Yes, he was, and he was a terrorist.
And who sent him? Who sent him?
Isn't Modi
who sent him?
A mass murderer? Isn't he a mass murderer? Yes or no?
No, sir. By our judiciary, he's not. There is absolutely no evidence of anyone to say that.
Madhav, ye bacche hain.
Shouldn't he be killed like the way Osama bin Laden was killed? Shouldn't he be killed the way?
You know, you can point fingers. You can point fingers in Bangladesh.
He deserves
Where he says that the Prime Minister of India...
Ridiculous. No.
You should shut him down and throw him out of this panel. He's saying that the Prime Minister of India should be...
Respond to him.
First of all, there's no responding. I don't think that a person who says that the Prime Minister of India should be killed like Osama bin Laden should be on this platform. I think
absolutely unacceptable.
Please tell him to... I would request your channel to tell him to
Who is the anchor?
get lost from this panel.
Yes,
Please ask him to get lost from this panel. I will not speak if he's on this panel. If he is advocated for the killing of the Prime Minister of India, he has to be taken out of this panel.
Absolutely. There's absolutely no question of accepting. There's absolutely no question of accepting it. The whole point is the bizarre statement made by Bilawal Bhutto itself is the point of debate. And Mr. Altaf, today you have made a comment which is absolutely unacceptable. We've lowered his fader. Shehzad, respond to him point by point.
He must be thrown out of the panel first.
Yes, he has been lowered. He doesn't have a voice here. He doesn't have a voice here.
I refuse to participate in a panel.
He doesn't have a voice here.
Where a person comes out and says he wants the Prime Minister of India to be killed. I will not go any further.
They have just exposed themselves. The point is
out of the panel.
The point is, I think Mr. Altaf today has just exposed today the kind of mentality, the baying for blood, and the absolute unreasonable behavior, that mentality that exists in Pakistan. All right, Shehzad.
You know, this is a classic case of Rassi jal gayi par bal nahi gaya. Today, Pakistan, which is basically on the fig leaf of dignity, exposed on this day in 1971 when the thousands and thousands of soldiers surrendered, today has the audacity to reduce its foreign minister into an international troll. And look what has Pakistan done. Let's talk about a few facts. Mr. Kamar Chima, this might hurt you, but today Pakistan is known as a global hotspot for terror, while India is known as a global hotspot for economic activity. When you close your eyes and you think about top global CEOs of economic companies, you think of an Indian, and you think of global terrorists, you think of a Pakistani like Lakhvi or like Hafiz Saeed. This is what you've been reduced to. The fact of the matter is that today you have reduced your country into a joke, and therefore you should be introspecting, but instead of that you have people like Bilawal Bhutto, who I can also call as the butcher of Bangladesh, as somebody who was the son of Mr. 10% or the stepbrother of Taliban and terrorism, how his parents and his family promoted Taliban and terrorism. Mr. Bilawal Bhutto would be better off going and reading about history and what his family has done to the minorities of Pakistan, how you've treated the Hindus in Pakistan, and how you've treated Shias and Aga Khanis. You claim to be the bastion of Islam. Here you've treated the kind of treatment you've given to Shias and Aga Khanis. That is what you should be introspecting about. But unfortunately, that word comes
all right, completely out of time
for you. Therefore,
completely out of time. Shehzad Poonawalla, Anand Ranganathan and Kamar Chima, I'd like to thank you all for joining us this evening, because clearly, of course, what's very evident is the unfortunate mentality that exists within Pakistan, and those who continue to espouse that, including those at the very highest levels of government there. We'll have to leave it there for the moment. Thanks so much for joining us on Newshour.